You're good.
Yeah.
You're good too. You're a great number two. A great number two.
I suck as a number one.
I just don't think you have a lot of experience.
I don't know about that.
You're a phenomenal number two. Phenomenal number two. So community, give it a like and a share everywhere you are watching. Questions, comments, concerns, perspective, thoughts, ideas, trials, tribulations, put them in the feed, and we will relay them live on air on the best talk show, real estate-wise, in the Commonwealth of Virginia. It's Real Talk with Keith Smith. It airs across the I Love Seville network. LinkedIn, Twitter, 15 Facebook pages, 15 Twitter accounts, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, 3 Instagram accounts, Snapchat, TikTok, iloveseville.com, keithsmith.com, boosted post on social media. Folks, we reach more than NBC 29. We reach more folks than NBC 29, which is pretty special. Judah Wickower, we can rock and roll.
You know that when they start calling you for interviews.
Well, I mean, when it comes down to it, it's a box in front of a couch. It's a box in front of a couch.
They call it an idiot tube for a reason.
It's a box in front of a couch. It's like, I'm not going to knock legacy media. I used to work in legacy media. People just don't consume their media anymore through the AM dial or on a box in front of the couch.
You know who told me this? Was about 10 years ago. My brother-in-law is an associate producer for Viacom. And he's like running all this stuff that you do at a national level. And he said, Keith, that's the future.
Oh, yeah.
And he was right.
Yeah, in 2008, when we launched this, I think I said that's the future. And we were right. Judah Wickower, we can rock and roll when you're ready. Good Monday morning, guys. I'm Jerry Miller, and welcome to Real Talk with Keith Smith. Thank you kindly for joining us. A Charlottesville, Commonwealth, country, and worldwide audience at our disposal on a glorious Monday to be above the mud. We thank Yes Realty Partners and Keller Williams Alliance for presenting the program, a show where you, the viewer and listener, can interact with the discussion by sharing your thoughts and perspective. So much we're going to cover on a Monday with the distinguished gentleman, Judah Wickower. Let's go to the studio camera and welcome the distinguished gentleman to the program. Keith Smith, good morning.
Good morning, Jerry. We've been talking about inventory and all kinds of stuff in housing and stuff for now 341 shows. But I'm going to do something here that I want to do. I want to look you dead in the face and apologize to you.
Oh, come on now.
No, this is important. This is important for me to do this. This is important for me to say it. You would think after 341 shows, I would understand that you should engage your brain before you engage your thumb. So to put a little context to this, folks, I made a tweet saying that I came up with the idea for Real Talk.
And I heard that from a handful of people, by the way.
Well, I'm trying to apologize to you live, so you do me a favor and let me get that out. And that's not true. You did. And it was April of 2019, and all I did was say yes. Matter of fact, I think I said hell yes. And where do I sign up? And we signed up. So I wanted to start the show off by apologizing to you. It was a case of thumbs engaging before brain engaged. So I apologize to you on that.
No problem. My suggestion would be the delete button. Once you post something on Twitter, you can always delete it. You don't have to edit it. You can delete anything on social media.
Now I'm learning.
You can delete stuff on social media. It's not forever. Once you hit publish, anything can be deleted.
But why haven't you been telling me this has been on forever and ever? But anyway, it was a mistake on my part.
No problem.
I wanted to apologize to you on live on it. And I also kind of wanted to change things up a little bit today because I'm not so much interested in real estate today. So how did you come up with that idea?
Which idea?
The Real Talk idea. How did that enter into that brain of yours to go ahead and do this? Because this is important. People ask all the time, and I was thinking what I was doing 20 years ago, right? And where I was and what I was doing. Because when you hit a certain age and you have grandkids, what's important to you changes a little bit. But in any event, how did you come up with that idea?
I mean, content is king. I knew when I launched the business in 2008 that people were going to utilize social media to build awareness for brands and businesses. I was a broadcaster and executive producer for ESPN Radio and NBC 29 and writing a column 5 days a week for the Daily Progress. And I realized that putting words in a newspaper that went to people's driveway in the morning was not the future of how people were going to read. And I realized that talking about stuff in the community in a fixed time slot on Sunday morning from 11:30 to 12 on NBC 29 was not going to be how people consume news. These phones that we had were much more than just about texting and phone calls. They were about building awareness in brands. And in 2008, I risked everything that I had to my name, and I took my personal life savings and I built a business. And in retrospect, it's turned out to be the best decision I've ever made outside of who I married, my wife. So, I don't know, take a risk, paid out, had a little vision, the common characteristics of successful entrepreneurs, I suppose. But enough about me. Talk to me about the weekend.
Well, that's no. Look, so what's interesting about that is because I'm doing these bike rides now. We were talking off air, and yes, it's stupid. I'm training for a 100-mile race in October.
Oh, I don't think it's stupid. I think it's great. I'm just concerned about your health and your back in particular.
I appreciate that.
Because you did the 10-miler and you couldn't walk for a week.
No, it was months, actually.
Yeah.
But
I'm concerned about your back.
Yeah, but I went to the doctor, so they gave me clearance to go ahead and do this. But it's interesting. So I'm listening to podcasts now on the bike.
Yeah.
And, well, I realized it this morning. What you do here and what we do here is so different because it's live.
Yeah.
Right? All these other podcasts, you can tell they're produced.
They're produced.
You can tell they're edited. You can tell that stuff. When we sit here and have this conversation, and I just think this is really probably not being done anywhere in the country, if not the world.
Well, no.
Is there a live Facebook?
Yeah, there's
Really?
live Facebook.
Really?
Yeah.
Live? And that's it? It's not edited after the fact?
I will say this. I can speak with confidence and conviction. Judah can speak on this as well. In the Commonwealth of Virginia, in this entire Commonwealth, the state of Virginia, there is no social media network like the I Love CVille network that on set times each day, 5 days a week, is creating content and pumping it out there. The reason I know that is because we've been contacted by Virginia Commonwealth University about this.
Oh, wow.
And VCU has got a phenomenal advertising and branding program, and we're in preliminary discussions. Obviously, I got a lot on my plate of potentially hosting some kind of short course at VCU about the I Love CVille network and this podcasting
So
network.
your major at UVA was?
Nothing tied to this.
And that was
Nothing
my
tied to
next
this.
thing was
Yeah.
as a kid growing up, I wanted to be a New York City cop. That's what I was because I grew up around every dad was a cop or a fireman and all that stuff. And I'm knocking on 60, awfully close to 60. If you would have asked, I would have been doing what I did for a living and sitting here and doing this, I would have said you're off. Well, back in the 70s, I don't think this was even thought of on that end of it. But, I just wanted to kick the show off, man. I appreciate everything you do. I say that regularly, and that was a stupid-ass thing on my part, so I wanted to apologize.
Sure thing. Philip Dow watching the program. Love your shows when I can watch them. Thank you, Philip Dow. Chad Wood is asking if you're accepting any offers on your house or not. Chad Wood, always getting people chuckling.
It's funny
over
you
here.
should say that, Chad.
I love you, Chad.
Yona and I looked at a house yesterday that's on the market on
For you personally?
Yona and I looked at a house for us personally on 6th Street. And we're now pivoting to maybe, this will sound a little, maybe will come out the wrong way. And again, this being live and just me being who I am, but we're trying to think, well, what if we've been thinking about renting an apartment in town.
Okay.
And it's just the rent is so expensive. I can actually buy something and do, some sort of long-term rental in the basement. Anyway, so we looked at something for sale on 6th Street that, actually not 6th, Stonehenge, actually, right on the edge of 6th Street, walking distance from our office.
Isn't that where you live?
To there.
Stonehenge?
Yeah,
Which Stonehenge?
the one that way.
Are you sure it's called Stonehenge?
The one off Park Street.
Yeah, I don't think yours is Stonehenge.
No, it's maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't think yours is called
Yeah, because
Stonehenge.
it's off of 6th Stone. Is that
Stonehenge is off of Park and Rio.
Well, I'd have to go ahead and look. and
Are you
figure-
in the Elmore County? Are you in Elmore County, Drew, or City of Charlottesville?
Well,
Elmore County?
this is walking distance to the office.
Yeah.
So it's on this.
There is another Stonehenge street that
Yeah,
way.
that's exactly right.
Oh, the street.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Okay, I said Stonehenge, but in any event, not the one in England, but Stonehenge. So I think one half is on the opposite side of Belmont Park, and the other one is on the opposite side of whatever. But anyway, we took a look at it for that very reason to go ahead.
Is it active right now?
It was as of last night.
Bill McChenzie says Stonehenge is off Rio Road. Evidently, there are two Stonehenges in the area. Wow, this is getting some interest here. Chad said, so it sounds like Yona's winning the battle over there, Keith Smith.
Chad, did you really think it was going to happen any other way?
I think we all knew. I mean, that's married life right
Well,
there.
no, so we negotiate just about everything.
Good morning, Nicholas Erpe.
So it's a compromise that we're trying to reach, because all in frankness, when I was your age 20 years ago, I had 5 companies. It was all about my definition of success was different than it is now, and mine is more wrapped around about ready to spend a few days with our grandkids up there. It's kind of wrapped around that a little bit. It's just very different. I want to be able to see. It's part of the reason I'm on the bike. I want to see my grandkids graduate. I really want to try to be around and present 20 years from now when I'm 80 years old. But we need, when the kids come, we're a bunch of people now. Plus, we got a new grandchild coming, so we need a kind of place for everybody, but then a place just for Yona and I. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
So what's being discussed now is maintaining the residence at Lake Monticello so you can accommodate family while getting an apartment in the city of Charlottesville.
So Jerry and I are discussing this without Mrs. Smith.
I don't see that ever coming to fruition.
I think it will.
You think you're going to rent an apartment in the city of Charlottesville?
No, I'm not going to rent an apartment. I'll buy one. But
So
I
you'll
won't rent.
buy an apartment in the city of Charlottesville while still maintaining your residence in Lake Monticello, 25 minutes from the city of Charlottesville.
I know.
Okay.
So how about them Mets? Actually, Mets are doing great. Actually, but we'll see. We took a look at it. It was a first step. This was a big step for us.
It is a big step.
We actually took a look at a home.
Very nice. Very nice. How's the weekend when it came to inventory?
Yeah, so it's interesting. Like I said in the beginning of the show, I kind of wanted to stay a little bit away from it, but I love my little week over week.
I love that too.
Analysis. So
Bill says we're talking about Stonehenge Avenue.
got it.
Stonehenge Avenue.
Yeah. So I don't think I added a road or avenue to it, but it's Stonehenge, so it's off of 6th Avenue. But
That's a great location.
There's also one off. It's a great location. There's also one off of Belmont Park, right? So it kind of splits. It splits up a little.
That's
bit.
a great park too.
Yeah. So we're not near. So this particular one is not near Belmont Park. This is up over literally right from my office to there.
Woody Fincham says, "Look me up, Keith, when you're ready to sell. We love the acres."
Yeah.
So it sounds like you got a potential buyer for your house right there. Why don't I say Woody Fincham?
Called Mrs. Smith.
I was going to say that. Woody Fincham. I will mention this on air. Yona Smith, here's a buyer for your house. Here's a buyer for
So it's a little warm out. Isn't
your
it?
house.
Isn't it? Is the AC off in here?
No, the AC's on
off in
60.
here?
It's on
Just wanna
60.
say, is the AC off in here? Could the
69 in here.
Could the AC be a little off in here?
It's on 69 over here.
Is Smith sweating? I think Smith is sweating.
Chad Wood is loving this. Somewhere Chad Wood is laughing. Chad Wood.
Chad, you're starting trouble.
Chad out of the gates is starting trouble. Chad, that was a hell of a grill. A lot of protein you had on the grill over the weekend, sir. I saw your Facebook post. Did you have a good weekend?
I had a great weekend.
Good.
We had a great business weekend. A lot of phone calls. I think tempos are picking up. I snuck in a couple of 25-mile bike rides, which I'm excited about doing.
How long does 25 miles take?
So I think, hang on one second. I think forgot to shut my hearing aids off. So about an hour between an hour and 30 and an hour 45 minutes. It depends.
It's not bad.
It depends on the ride and stuff like that. So I've been averaging somewhere around 15 miles an hour, 16 miles an hour.
Multiple people are saying make Keith sweat.
It's working. I'm sweating.
That's a good
I
one.
was going to title the second half of this show called Stump the Chump, which would be me, but apparently it's already started.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about the show, and honestly, that's one of the it's, we talk about this all the time. When you live stream to as many people as we got watching the program, you always got to be on your P's and Q's. And something that's done on the internet, that's a lesson that I'm going to teach our son. I think it's a lesson for teenagers everywhere. Something that's put and published or sent to social media somewhere literally never goes away.
So you're just trying to teach a 60-year-old this. It's been taking a little bit while.
It's forever. It is forever. This is the world's paper trail, is the internet. The paper trail of the world.
Well, if you're going to hire somebody, what's the first thing you do?
You vet them.
You do a
vet them
Google
online.
search.
Well, and on top of that, even if you're not going to hire something, if someone's going to publish something on there, there's going to be people who see it and send it to the people who they're talking about. Anyway, that's just my lesson for the teenagers out there in the world. Keith Smith has got a short week. He's heading to Connecticut tomorrow.
Zero dark 30.
Zero dark 30. Are you bringing the bike?
Yep.
Are you really bringing the bike?
Yeah.
On the pickup? So you're taking the pickup truck?
Oh, we may also have a rack on the car. So.
Oh, on Subaru.
Yeah.
Okay. So the bike is coming to Connecticut.
Well, that was part of the negotiations.
Okay.
If I'm gonna spend, we're gonna do a grandbaby babysitting and remote working for a week. I need to get a little bike riding in. So as you know, the name of the bike is called Addict.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why I got it. So I get addicted to this stuff on that end of it. Hey, so back on the real estate end of it, last 7 days, 71 new homes is car footprint, which is what we do every week. Car footprint, 71 new units came on the market, 81 went pending. Pretty close to par. It's not too terribly lopsided, but looking pretty good. We've been looking at price changes. That's 62, which is same week in April. Price change was 47, so we're about 20 units up. But interesting, same week in April, 127 homes came on the market versus 71 for this week, and then when pending was 100 versus 81. So the pace for us is picking up a little bit. Our phone call seems to be been picking up, or texts or emails, but the market itself is starting to balance a little bit, starting to slow down.
Starting to become a buyer's market, guys.
But interesting. A year ago, same week, was 77 units came on, 64 went into pending. So that was lopsided, right, between that going active and pending. So we're getting a little bit on par, not quite on par, but close.
Home inspections back?
Home inspections are back. Yeah, we just did.
Closing costs coming back?
I haven't seen too many of them.
No closing costs yet?
No, not too many. We've had one, and it was like 50% or something like that. But I think that balance is starting to come back. So interesting on just to kind of focus a little bit on solds. So the last week, 103 solds of those that are closed. Back in April, 78. Back a year ago was 101. So a year ago to now, it's almost kind of balanced, which is weird. It was a year ago, it was 77 came on same week. This is 71, 101 sold, 103 this week. Last, the pending was a little off a year ago at 64 versus 81. So, I think the pace is kind of picking up a little bit.
The interesting thing, questions already come in. We'll get to them in a matter of moments, guys. Give the show a like and a share. If you want some perspective, some comments, or some jokes heard on air, just put them in the feed. We'll relay them on air. Debbie Robles, welcome to the program. She is watching in Short Pump. Rochelle Wharton is watching in Crozet. Hello and welcome to the program. And Kevin Olivia, hello and welcome to the show, watching in Lynchburg. A year ago today, rates were they 2x less on a 30 fix?
Oh yeah, they were half.
Yeah, what's a 30 fix now?
Probably. We'll find out on Wednesday when Scott Marvelous Mortgage comes in.
He's bringing Taylor Everett with him on Wednesday.
Good,
Taylor Everett.
Good, thank you. I didn't thank you for sharing me. I didn't know that. So it's 525, 530. It depends on your credit, right? But it's somewhere around 5.5, just to pick a number. It's somewhere around that. Versus probably a year ago it was 2.5. Sub 3 for sure.
Right.
On that end of it. So, but again, the units that have closed here in that these were stuff that kind of came on the market. I looked at it on the back of the back of it that came on the market when the interest rates started climbing. So people are still buying and selling. But I was a bit surprised. I did not expect July, the same week in July a year ago, to be the same. And I asked Yona what she thought about that on the way in, because we like to take one vehicle in. And she seems to feel that maybe the summer, historically, we've got a 20-something year running spread.
Summer's slow.
Yeah, historically, that I think our conversations before. Pardon me. I'm really interested to see what September 1 brings. September and October. That's going to be the litmus test of where we're really going to flush out at the end of 2022 versus 2021.
So rates, as we know, are up. Inventory is not moving as quickly. One positive, Philip, I'll get to your comment here. One positive we're
Gas is
seeing.
below $4.
Gas is going down, and inflation seems to potentially have plateaued. Time will tell. But there's some indicators out there that inflation is starting to plateau a bit. You buy that or no?
Well, time will tell, but I'll know this much. We called this by the end of last year. Inflation is going to impact the housing market, but more than anything, right?
no doubt.
Across the board, probably even more than interest rates. Interest rates will kind of balance themselves out a little bit here. So, I was, a matter of fact, I had to come in for a meeting yesterday, and I purposely went over to Costco to fill up because we were sub 4. Please don't ask me how much. I forgot how much, but all I got excited was below $4, and I filled my pickup truck up.
It's so crazy, Judah. $4. Let's get it. You got a 3-shot ready to go? Let's get Judah Wickower's mugshot on here, and have him wave to his adoring
That's a gorgeous
fans.
mug. You got a
Isn't it crazy we're championing and singing the praises of $3.99 gas, Judah?
in July, in the middle of the vacation season,
Yeah.
right on that stuff. And I think what happened is probably April, May of this year, everybody just did this, go out and travel. And I think that might have been part of the spike as far as volume, as far as the amount of fuel being used on that end of it. I don't know exactly why it's coming down. You probably know this more than I do. How much is a barrel of oil?
WTI crude, Judah, look at that sponsor strip. WTI crude is roughly $100 a barrel.
Yeah.
I'd say it's around 100.
Yeah.
It's as much demand from summer travel and
Sure.
pent up, I got to get out after this pandemic feelings. And it's also the fact that it's a forward indicator. A lot of folks now are starting to realizing that come Q3, Q4, because inflation is so rampant, that people aren't going to travel as much, so gas is dropping.
Yeah.
It's a forward indicator.
Except for the Smiths, which we're going to get.
You guys travel constantly, which is good, but you're retired. You should be traveling.
Did you say I'm retired?
You're close to retiring. You're 60.
Yeah, well, I don't think we're ever going to retire, but we just adjust on how much work we put in. We work. Let me see. Last week, it was quite a bit. So we work all the time. It's just we do all this 12-hour days for 5, 6, 7 days. Actually, probably 7 days a week. And then we take a little time off, and we do that because otherwise Keith becomes very boring.
Nicholas Herbie says his beautiful wife and Nick filled up Friday just because they were thrilled to see $3.99 gas at Costco. Nicholas Herbie, my wife, did the same thing. She saw gas $3.99, had a half a tank, pulled over and just filled up because it was $3.99. She was just happy to see gas with a 3 in it. You think about that. That's where we're at now with inflation, that if you see gas with the 3, you stop, you fill up, and you do jumping jacks of joy.
So
Everything is a matter of scale.
Yeah, right. Say that again.
Everything is a matter of scale.
Exactly right.
We get used to one
perspective.
scale and it goes down, and it seems like a major breakthrough.
But do you,
Well
Judah?
said, Judah.
Have you changed any of your buying habits in the last 4 to 6 months? Are you doing something more, or a little bit less than you normally would do because of?
I think I can answer that for him. I would say the answer is no. Wouldn't you say the answer is no?
I'd say the answer is mostly no. I'm a little more frugal, but for the most part, I'm not out buying, hundreds of dollars of groceries or splurging on, anything.
It could be one of the things here. Being a single man, single and ready to mingle, has its advantages at peak inflation, at levels of inflation we've never seen in American history.
It certainly helps, but I've always been frugal, so
It's very, it's.
Good morning, Kevin Yancey.
When you're an empty nester, though, it's a little easier, right? So we just go
Oh.
out, we go out to eat a little bit less. We don't buy, we don't go to Whole Foods as often as we probably would normally do because of the cost on stuff. But it was this coming week is my parents' 60th wedding anniversary, and I had them over for dinner, and I went to Costco to pick up a couple of steaks because just needed to grill up some steak.
Costco's got great steak.
They got great steak. I think I took out a small mortgage to buy them, but
What kind of cuts?
Oh, yeah, I do New York strips.
Okay.
Right.
You got strips?
That's what I.
What do strips set you back? What's a strip per pound at Costco these days?
All I know was
Bill McKenzie, you know that? Phil Dow?
the package I got of 5 was $125.
A 5-pack of strips is one.
No, I'm sorry, I lied to you. It was 6. It was $125.
Are you sure?
Oh yeah, but these were super thick.
That's $20+ a steak.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
Bill
I mean,
McKenzie, is that right? Phil Dow, is that right? Chad Wood?
Would you like me to take out the receipt out of my wallet?
Well, okay, so that puts it in perspective. So if you're going to Costco, and you know what Costco stands for, right?
No.
Do you know what Costco stands for, Judy?
I know what the original one is. I've been.
Does anyone know how they got the name Costco? Cost cooperative.
Oh, yeah.
Costco is cost cooperative. They utilize purchasing power to save you money. Interestingly, the Costco business model is strictly on membership. They essentially,
I heard that.
for their customers, they sell stuff at their cost and make the money on
It was an
membership.
interesting article about the hot dogs, right? So the hot dogs are always like $1.50, right?
Yeah.
Right. And I think there's some article around here that somebody wants to change it, and everybody's got all worked up about it.
So at a cost cooperative, the cost for 6 steaks is 21. It's called $21 a steak.
But these things were like huge.
But I guess what I'm saying is that puts it in perspective, the plight of the restaurant owner. If the restaurant owner is now the restaurant owner has different options besides Costco to buy. They have wholesale purveyors like Cisco and Performance Foods where they're buying their food from, and they're also buying more in bulk.
These things weighed so much, I had to get somebody to help me put them in the thing.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is the restaurant owner's got to go, what, 2x?
Yeah.
2.5x their cost of goods. So that means that's why you're seeing steaks for $55 on a menu.
Yeah, I mean, historically, any business, right? If it costs you $1, you have to charge 3 times the amount, right? The $1 for the product, then there's $1 for your overhead, and then $1 for your gross profit, which ends up with taxes and insurances and all that kind of great stuff. And if you're lucky, you end up with somewhere to 5 to 10% net if you're lucky.
That's what we try to do is we try to 3x. We try to 3x when dealing with clients. I think it's a good peace of mind.
Same thing with housing. It's always was the same way.
A lot of comments coming in. The rotisserie chicken is where it's at. That's from Mr.
And that's
Yancey.
also a loss leader too. I read an
I don't
article.
think not loss leader. Loss leader means you're selling something for a loss to attract someone into a store.
I think Google it. I read an article. It's either that or the hot dogs, but one of them.
A good example of a loss leader would be Sammy Snacks. Sammy Snacks used to sell Frontline or Advantix at a loss. They would lose money on selling the flea and tick stuff to your dogs. But they did that because every time someone went in for a discount on Advantix or Frontline, they came out with something else that was at full MSRP.
Well, Google that rotisserie thing, because I don't think you can buy an actual chicken uncooked at Costco, whole chicken uncooked for, I think the rotisserie is less than what you can buy, but I may be wrong on that end of it. But I remember reading an article about that was their quote unquote loss leader, whatever that is.
Okay. So comments coming in here. First, there's a lot of comments here. Jennifer, we will get to you. Jennifer says she loves the rotisserie chickens at Costco, and it's one of the reasons they go there. And Carrie Rock says the chickens are at a loss, and they're placed at the back of the store for a reason. Thank you, Carrie Rock, for saying that.
So the question is have you ever, has anybody ever walked in, got a rotisserie chicken,
And left.
right? I know I've never done that. So.
I've never done that.
Yeah.
Who goes into Costco and comes out with one item?
I joke around every time I go out. Look at that! It's under $300.
Under three, yeah.
Look at that. Look at
So
that.
that's the only tough part about Costco over there for me. I don't know about you guys is I'd often leave coming out with a full cart, and then I'm like, oh my God, my bill's what you just said.
Yeah, but
But then you stockpile, and then you save the money in the back end.
yeah, I tell you what, Yona and I don't go to Costco as often as we used to when the kids were home.
Because you
we
only
used-
have 2 people.
Yeah, right. There's, I don't need 50,000 pounds of
You don't need a
Cheerios.
deep freezer full of protein.
I do not.
And you like to eat out.
we enjoy eating out, but we do, at least us, and we do kind of more like the European kind of thing. We only buy food for a couple of days, or let's say, as our daughters say when they come over to visit us and open up the refrigerator, that we're a bunch of college kids, because there's alcohol, milk, eggs, there's eggs, alcohol. I think that's about it. And then we go out and buy a steak for dinner that night, or chicken for that night, and grill it up.
Nick says he likes to wander and check things out in the store. Nicholas Erpy, I do as well, my friend. In fact, one of my favorite things about Cost Cooperative, aka Costco, is the free samples. I love to hit all the free sample stations in Costco.
Do you ever actually buy anything of the free
Oh
sample?
no, I never buy anything.
It's lunch, isn't it?
I go in there for lunch, yeah, or for like a snack.
It's lunch.
Kevin Yancey loves the chickens. This is from, God, I love getting to know the same folks that are interacting with the show. I feel like I get to know you. Judah, we'll get you in the mix here if you have something to add. Andre Xavier, we'll get to you in a matter of moments as well. Stacy says this, Costco feeds our family. This is where we do our grocery shopping, our gas fill up, and we do this on Sundays after church with the husband and the kids. It's turned into a family tradition. Yes, Jerry, the free samples give me all the feels. And Danny O'Day, hello.
So our daughter and son-in-law live out in Seattle, so they go to the original Costco in Kirkland, Washington. And it's funny, every time we call them, literally, they're either going to Costco or they're coming back from Costco. I don't know what 2 young people get in Costco all the time, but that's what they do. They're in Costco all the time, back and forth, back and forth.
Andre Xavier watching the program. So grateful for your amazing show. Quick question on the new construction side. Is the issue with materials and labor still going on? Thank you for a great show. And Keith, you jump in here. I can say the custom home builder that we represent undoubtedly has labor issues and cost of good issues and supply chain issues. Cost of home, new construction is higher than it's ever been, and it's slowed down to the point where folks are saying, let's see what happens with inflation and see if it cools down.
So, yes, and more yes on that end. Which is that?
Andre Xavier,
Andre. So please,
Cascadia's finest.
please watch on Friday. I've got Greg Slater sitting in my seat here,
Mr. New Construction.
Mr. New Construction, and he's going to bring 2 other new construction guests along.
Oh, who does he have in mind?
We hasn't quite flushed out yet on that end of it, but he's supposed to let us know by Wednesday. But these topics, I had a pre-show conversation with them yesterday. That exact topic is going to come in. So what we're going to do is put the experts in the room to go ahead and do this. I've built enough houses, I think I can qualify as an expert. But it's 100% right. The new construction is dropping back. I believe there was a nationwide 15% jump in contract cancellations, right? Now that's over last year, right? And last year there was like 0 contract cancellations, but contract cancellations are picking up. Product types are starting to be a little bit questionable. We've been talking about this for a while.
What do you mean questionable?
Well, in other words, the decision to build a high-end townhomes starts being somewhat questionable at the moment, because that decision was made because of the runway is so long, was years ago. So, a $500,000 townhome is maybe not where the market is at the moment. I may be wrong. These guys will bring in data, but what I look at, there seems to be a little bit of slowdown. So I'll be interested on Greg's read on that the entry-level townhomes are not seeing the contract cancellations, but maybe the upper-end townhomes are.
Well, a perfect example is something we try to mention on this show with firsthand perspective. The neighborhood I live in eastern Albemarle County, Stanley Martin is the predominant player with new construction, and they're modeled now as homes that are in 2,800 square feet. I mean, we have, normally in the neighborhood you were seeing 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 square foot homes. Now they're 2,000 to 3,000 square feet, and that's because the cost of goods are so expensive.
So
What's the price per square on new construction these days?
oh yeah.
Off the top of your head, back of the napkin.
I will tell you, if you ever want to watch a builder squirm in their chair,
That question right there.
ask that question.
Because people hold them to it.
I've made a career out of not answering that question.
Well, now you don't have. What do you think it is? Is it?
I don't really know. It's moving that fast. It's got to be over 3.
Is it over 3?
It's got. I mean, we got.
I was thinking 250.
We got to quantify it. Are we talking?
Custom or production?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Custom's definitively over 3.
Yeah, I was thinking we can't. Let's not use custom because
You got
custom
it.
is going to scare
Yeah.
the hell out of people.
Yeah, I would say somewhere in.
250.
Yeah, somewhere in that range.
So 250
275.
price per square, new construction. Let's say it's a 3,000 square foot home. 250 times 3,000. The cost to build that home is $750,000, and the general contractor needs to make a 15%. Is it 15% profit that he tries to shoot? The reality is probably in the neighborhood of 7 to 8%, right? What's the GC at? The builder.
So have you noticed I don't build houses any longer?
Isn't it about? I mean, they want 15.
If you can net 3 to 6%, that's good.
Now it's that.
Yeah, I would say now. The costs are just going through the roof. I would never want to be in the custom home building right now.
So 750,000. Let's call it 6%. Is an additional 45.
And then, are you calculating the dirt net?
No, that's what I'm saying. So just the house on a 3,000 new home. This is not a custom build. This is production.
Well, so I can tell you, I can tell you what the price is because I ran the first
Please.
6 months of Albemarle County, new construction, only single family detached. Median sales price is $718.
Yeah, there you go. It was right there.
Yeah, so it's $718, but that includes the dirt.
Right.
So you've got.
And that's the median.
That's the median. So you got to.
Does that include attached?
No. So attached is $472.
Okay. Detached is 718. Does it
Correct.
say
This is
medium size of the new construction?
Yeah, I didn't put square footage
Okay.
down on that.
Okay.
On that end of it.
I would
So
bet you it's under 3.
Yeah, I
Do you think? 3,000?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I specifically didn't put that in there. So these are the numbers we were running for the first half of the year that I've been keeping in my little handy notebook here. But 2022 versus 2021 is on par in volume. Single family detached, Albemarle County, 111 sold, closed so far on that. This is all production stuff. You don't see a lot of custom in the car MLS system in that end of it. There's some, but not a huge amount. And then last year was 110, so that's pretty much par. The big jump was 646 last year was the median sales price. 718 is now. So let's call the production end of it on par. Why I'm really interested to hear what Greg talks about
I love Greg Slater.
about the new construction stats. The single family attached, in other words, the townhomes. Now, I have to quantify this a little bit. In CAR, in the MLS, they don't break out townhomes from duplexes. Two very different animals. They put them all together as attached on that end of it. So
Two very different animals.
they're two very
Yeah.
different animals because if you have a duplex and you're on one side, it's kind of like a detached. It's not, but it's close enough to it that you got a little bit of yard. Where a townhome, if you have a middle unit, you may not have anything on that end of it. But it was a 54% drop year over year. 62 units were sold the first half of the year at 472. 2021 was 94 at 400. Median sales price on that end of it. So that's even less than 2018 on that end of it. So that was a 54% drop in attached. And that's probably, and again, Greg will bring into it, my suspicion is that's interest rates going from sub 3
Oh, yeah.
to sub 6.
Definitely.
It just becomes too expensive.
Too expensive. Mark Lichtman, welcome to the program. I think he's
Mark.
watching in Mexico right now.
Oh.
Fluvanna County's, one of Fluvanna County's finest, who is a world traveler, Mark Lichtman. Paul McCarter of Avenue, he's an agent. He says a builder once told me price per square foot is equal to buying a car by the pound.
Yeah.
See, this is what I don't, okay, like, I'm a numbers guy.
So it depends on what you want to have in the house. See, that's it. You could go ahead and have, let's say, production. We have Stanley Martin has a base unit on that end of it, but I want to walk in there and I pick their highest package.
Just call it the platinum package.
Whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
right? I'm putting gold fixtures in.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Well, that screws up your.
You want the Viking appliances. You want all the bells and you want the technology home.
Whatever it is,
Yeah.
my selection for that home takes that home from $1 to $2, right? Same thing with custom. At any time, all the homes that we did everything from full custom to semi-custom. We were not a production person, and to go back to 20 years ago, as I was thinking on the way in here, my opening apology to you. When I was your age, I had 5 companies. We were doing dozens and dozens and dozens of homes a year on that end of it, and that was the one question I absolutely hated the most. I said, when you finish telling me what you want in the house, then I'll tell you what the cost is, and then we can figure out the math on the price per square foot. But if you want to walk in and say, hey, I need to know, it's just almost impossible to do it.
Well,
let me try it this way. Do you remember a Pinto? You remember the Pinto?
yeah, we know the Pinto.
Right?
Yeah.
So I can go in and buy a Pinto, or I can buy a Cadillac Coupe de Ville.
Well, Paul makes the comparison. Mercedes and Kia are the
There you
same,
go.
but the price isn't close.
There you go.
Yeah.
They're both cars.
Yeah.
They both have 4 wheels. They both get you from point A to point B.
I'll play the devil's advocate here. As a business person who makes his decisions based on rationale, common sense, and data, how else should someone do a home with a custom builder without price per square foot? It's like someone comes to me here, and we get, folks know that I own most of this building here, and they come to me and like, this thing is for sale. And I'm like, what's the cap rate? You know how many people get pissed off when I ask the question, what's the cap rate?
So you're mixing apples, and we're still doing fruit, but you're doing apples and pears. Commercial's a whole different world.
I guess my point is you need what's the KPI you're going to utilize to justify, because you're not just going to say yes to one builder. You're going to compare builders before you start a project. You're going to price them out.
So that's interesting.
Dude, people who are watching this program, do not say yes to one builder.
Well,
Shop it around.
But it's changed a lot. 20 years ago, that was a different environment. Right now, the builder, sometimes you don't get to choose the builder, you choose the where, right? I'm picking whatever subdivision, and this is the builder that's in that subdivision. I don't get to come in and say, I want ABC. Custom No. That used to be the case back before, because what happens is...
If you buy a lot in a neighborhood, you can find the builder you want.
Really?
You're telling me that if you go to Glenmore and there's a lot for sale that you can't bring your own builder?
No, Glenmore, the new section that is opened up that Stanley Martin does, it's a Stanley Martin section.
There's a lot on Piper Way.
That's a custom home. So that's
Yeah.
two different. We're talking 2 different animals.
Sure,
right here.
we're very different than Stanley Martin buying up an area then selling lots to people.
So we have production, we have custom.
Yeah.
Right. So I just don't want to confuse folks here. So on the production side of it, you're spot on. Right. Let's go pick the lot. Then you got to figure out who you want to be, and you better interview multiple builders
Yeah.
before you do that.
Right. Because you're going to spend a year of your life with
So
these
I
people.
did that for 600 homes, and generally, what it came down to is who you felt comfortable with.
Yeah.
That's really what it came down to.
Sure.
Where the relationship mattered at the end of it. Where you were comfortable with it, because at the end of the day, a house is a house. Right? It's who do you feel comfortable with? Who do you trust? Who do you are going to help you navigate that? If you go ahead and Google one of the most stressful things in life, there's the death of a loved one, but building a house is in there. One of the top 5 of the stressful most things that you can do in your life.
I saw my parents build a house in Williamsburg, Virginia, when my brother and I
It was
were
custom,
kids.
right?
Custom house in Kings Mill in Williamsburg.
Who matters?
Dude, it was freaking brutal.
Yeah. Who matters?
My dad spent a year of his life.
Yeah. Who matters? So it's really no different than what we do every day to help Jerry and Judah to buy a home. Who matters? It's setting expectations, making sure everybody understands what they're getting, what they're not getting, have the systems in place to go ahead and do it. But, it's, that's on the custom side of the house. The production side of the house is a little bit different, right? It's generally, if you were to go into a subdivision and what happens is, particularly the size of it, right? Builder A would take so many lots, builder B would take so many lots. That's a commonplace right now. So if you want the lot now, what can happen in some subdivisions is builders start trading lots. They'll say, okay, look, I'll trade lots from point A to point B, but if I come in and buy the land, develop it, and build it, you're building with me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes absolute sense. Comments coming in. Kevin does not believe the margin is 3 to 7%.
Google it, National Association of...
For the custom home builder.
For the custom home
He
builder.
says we're nuts if we think it's 3 to 7%.
It's about 3 to 6%.
Kevin, just out of curiosity, I responded back to him. What do you think the margin is? Just curious. Do you think it's
That's
higher
net.
or lower?
I'm talking net.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, you're talking net.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Net profit.
Net profit. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. And the reason I know that is...
But you used to be one.
I used to be one.
Yeah.
And sometimes when I do custom builds and you take a look at the closing statement and the builder goes, you just made more money than I did on it, then...
I've heard that from a lot of builders.
Yeah. So that's
That's why you're seeing a lot of builders diversify into remodeling.
Oh,
Where
well,
the margin is what?
now that's a
30%?
That's a whole different margin. That net is much higher.
He knows about this. Educate us.
Much higher. The risk
It's significant.
is commiserate. Is that the right word?
Commensurate.
Commiserate? Did I say it right?
Commensurate.
Huh?
Commence.
Yeah, that word.
Surate.
Like Thor, right?
Yeah.
So there's an inside joke. My wife wanted to go see that movie, and she goes, "Let's go see Thor." And I go, "What the hell are you talking about in this store?" Anyway, so the risk is huge.
Tell them why. Seriously, you should tell. This is good knowledge.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what's behind the wall.
Well, you've got all that
Yeah.
to deal with, but if I'm building a home on my lot, and we have a relationship problem, it's my lot. I'm renovating in your house. You don't know what's behind the wall. I get because of what my background and because of my Class A licenses and all that kind of great stuff, I get asked all the time, so what do you think this renovation is? If I'm going to buy this house and renovate it, what do you think it's going to cost? My first question is, what's the number you have in your head?
It's always 2 times the cost.
And whatever that number is,
Times
double
it by
it.
2.
And they look at me and they wonder, he says, I don't need to give you a number. Whatever number you're thinking, double it. And actually, I would triple it right now.
That's terrifying.
I would triple it.
Because of cost of goods and labor?
It's cost of goods. As you said, I open up a wall and go, oops, that wasn't there, because the renovation contract is going to say, that's not my problem. Now you've got to pay for that. Here's the extra.
And think about how much leverage the remodeler has when they open
house
up a
is
wall.
tore apart.
Yeah, right. Finish your thought there. Because the house is torn apart, you're not going to go to the remodeler and be like, I'm not paying more because of this surprise
But
behind the wall. Your house is a construction zone.
So let's put it to what you do for a living.
Sure.
Right? You help folks, but you build websites. You built a beautiful website, several actually, beautiful websites for us. But Real Talk with Keith Smith.
We built Real Talk with Keith Smith, Yes Realty Partners, and the Keller Williams overall parent company website, all originated in this shop. That's one aspect of what we do here.
But if I show up with the website and say, I need you to fix this,
It's more expensive to remodel or revamp an existing website than for me to start from scratch.
and that's no different in a house.
Yeah, because we're not going to spend the time to try to decipher somebody else's back-end code as opposed to just using our code from scratch that we know works.
Get a big old eraser, erase it
Yeah.
all the things, start with a clean piece of paper, and start all over.
Yancey thinks it's double digits. Jennifer thinks it's double digits.
What's double
Stacy
digits?
watching thinks it's 10% plus.
What's that?
The GC,
For the custom home?
yeah.
It's not. Google it.
Yeah, he's right, guys. He's right. How about this question from Stacy?
It's a misconception. People think that.
That's what it is.
But it is not. And just think about the risk
Yeah.
that they particularly, look, I'm sitting here. I can tell the story. I lost, because of risk, I lost $17 million, lost everything we had.
Well, talk to him even very, very, I mean, that was a very real circumstance. During the pandemic, the cost of goods were going up so fast. The GCs didn't have escalators associated with cost of goods in the pandemic and the contracts, and a lot of them were losing their shirt.
literally were getting phone calls from builders saying, what do I do? What do I do? Because this is not an unusual thing. This happened to us in the late 2000s, or excuse me, the early 2000s, when drywall and all this stuff. This cyclical cost is pretty normal. It happens, right? We couldn't get labor. Those 5 companies I was talking about,
Drywall.
no, I owned a framing company.
Did you have a drywall company?
I did not.
Electrician?
Can you let me finish?
Okay, framing, go.
Framing,
Yeah.
plumber,
Okay,
cabinetry,
okay,
general contracting,
Okay.
and a development company.
okay.
And I started the plumbing, cabinet, and the framing because we couldn't find people. I just decided to create my own company.
That's
and do
literally
it.
what we're going through now with our client.
Yeah.
Literally what we're
Yeah.
going.
That's what I did. Now, I got lucky somewhere 2000, and this is for the record, I would rather be lucky than good any day of the week, but I got lucky back before 2007. I sold off 3 of those companies and did very well. The other 2 I didn't do so well on that end of it, on it. You know, the development company is the hugest risk on it, which was, you know, we had 3 subdivisions going.
Quentin Beckham, welcome to the program.
Hey,
We love you, QB. Very interesting discussion right here because it continues in the feed the misconception that the builders making bank.
No, even the production guys are not.
How about this question from Stacy? With their model, they're building in a salary for them for each house. So you guys are talking what's left over. So the GC is making the salary
So
they
that's
build
net.
in.
So we're
Yeah.
talking. So let's define net and gross and cost of goods and all that kind of grace. This is net. This is what's left over in their pocket after all their expenses.
She's basically saying one of their expenses is the salary they pay themselves for each
Yeah,
job.
plus their regular employees, their office folks, their subcontractors.
So to Stacy's point, she's saying the builder is making the 3 to 7% you're talking about, plus the salary that they're paying.
But they take all the risk.
Yeah, Stacy, you're right. She's
Right.
right. Yeah. So each house, the GC is saying, for my time, I'm paid this.
Sure.
But that's like any business.
Sure.
For my time when I'm running this business, I'm paying myself every 2 weeks a check, and then at the end of the year, you hope there's some money left over, and then that's called profit.
That's kind of how it works.
That's how it works.
That's kind of how it works.
Right. So the GC is going to pay themselves something.
And that's most people don't do that, by the way. Most smaller builders don't do
They
that.
just hope for the profit at the end. They don't
hope
pay themselves.
They
Yeah.
don't set up the corporate structure in the front of it and pay themselves a salary. Don't pay themselves a W-2 on that end of it.
What do you think that is?
I don't, it's interesting you should do that. I used to, pre-pandemic, teach a class at PBCC and JMU and UVA. It's one of these little $300 you get a credit. And the name of it was helping folks start their own business, right? And a lot of it was contractors that would come in. They're so wrapped up in focusing on, which is good, the work. They don't focus on the business end of it. On the end of it. And one of the questions I used to ask all the time, so, you want to move from like you and a truck and grow your business to hire employees and
To a company.
to a company.
Yeah, right.
That-
You're talking from like
That's exactly.
small business to a company.
Well, these are folks doing it as a DBA. They don't even have a company
Wait,
structure.
sole proprietor?
Yeah, exactly.
They're
right.
building homes as sole proprietor?
No, these were like plumbers and electricians.
Okay, gotcha.
But they're still doing volume of work on that stuff.
A lot of risk there.
And so my first question always was to them, so what's your, you've decided to do this and grow, what's your first 2 hires? And everybody was, I need a new electrician, I need a new plumber, I need a new laborer, I need a new this. And I went, no, it's a CPA and an attorney, right? Set yourself up right, do all that stuff. And oh, by the way, that 3 to 6%, right? Right? Guess how much the government gets of that?
Exactly. It's a conversation we have here often, right, J-Dubs? Of how the government takes a good chunk of what
Well, it depends
everything-
how you're structured, right? So you pass it to you personally, like an S corp or something along those lines.
Well, how about this comment? The builder is making money on the parts and goods that they're buying off you. So the builder buys something at X and they sell it for Y. They charge Y.
Sure. Sure. Right.
So the comment is That's additional revenue built into the
But
model. But that's part of the net margin.
That's part of the net margin.
right. That's what we're trying to explain.
That's
That's how they make money.
Well, that's how this works, right? So it's interesting. I had a conversation with one of our agents. I'll leave the name out in the office, and he wants to renovate his bathroom. So it was like he or she. Let's do it that way. So I said, look, I want to do this, but the contractor that I'm going to use says, look, I can go to Ferguson and buy all the fixtures and stuff like that, and I'll save myself a 30% markup.
And then guess what? When he did that, he realized it was more expensive than when the builder could do it himself.
No, I said, I'll tell you what, you go back to your renovator and you say, are you buying at wholesale? And if you're buying at wholesale, and what are you paying for and what is your markup? And he did that. And then he went to Ferguson and bought retail, and the retail was higher than the original
Right.
number. So, but
And why is that? Because Ferguson has rent and overhead. That's storefront.
No, well, they have two different paths, right? If you were a professional, a contractor, and you open up an account with them, and oh, by the way, it's like opening up a loan. It's a credit line. You're personally responsible for it. Yada yada yada. You don't pay me. I still got to pay them on that end of it on time. Yeah, so it's on UX. Some of your custom folks, if you can get to 10%, you're doing great. And you got to give that percentage of that to the government.
Right. And how about and let's not underestimate
But the risk is huge.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Let's not underestimate the risk that's
Risk is
involved,
huge.
and let's not underestimate the experience involved and the connections involved. So I got this phone call. I think it was at the end of last week.
We lost
That's-
lost everything we had. Everything we had.
This guy's speaking from firsthand experience. I want anybody that's watching this program to know that. Speaking from firsthand experience. I had this phone call at the end of last week. We're having some success selling these businesses.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
And then there was someone that mentioned to us, and you can tell that they were like kicking the tires. And the question started being like, who do you use for this? And who do you use for that? Who do you use for this? And who's
So
this guy?
they wanted to do it on their own.
Yeah. And then about 5 or 10 minutes into the phone call, you're doing this for 15 years, you start to see the red flags.
Sure.
And then they're basically asking for like the database of contacts to go from point A to point B.
Sure.
That database of contacts is the value proposition someone brings to their client. Because over 15 years, Keith's been doing this for 37, we have vetted the contacts that will deliver and who will not. That's part of our value proposition of what we're providing you.
So let's just go back.
You agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's the there was a saying, and I can't remember how it exactly goes, but what you're paying for is my experience
Exactly.
and my knowledge.
Yeah.
Is what you're paying for.
Right.
There's a whole, and Judah may jump in. I believe there's like some sort of proverb on that. I just can't remember how it actually goes on that end of it. But let's assume I build something for you, and I'm building it with a 10% net. That's my goal. That's my budget. That's my stuff. And let's forget about accelerator clauses and all that stuff. My employees screw up something. That's a $20,000 mistake. I eat that,
You eat that.
right? There goes my 10%, or whatever the number is on that end of it. So you take all the risk on that end of it. I get asked all the time. I mean, to be totally frank with you, to build homes, and I go, nah, I'm good.
I relayed this on the I Love
Did
Seville
it?
show, and I'll pass it on to you. It was me, you, Judah, and Alex Erpy. This is called the Conversation on Perceived Value.
Oh yeah, sure.
Conversation on Perceived Value. A customer asked a contractor friend of mine how much it would cost to do the project. My friend gave him a proposal of $4,500.
Mm-hmm.
The customer responded to my friend, that seems really, 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 really high. My buddy said, what do you think is a reasonable price for this job? The customer said, $2,500 max. You're overcharging me $2,000. My buddy said, okay, then I invite you to do the job yourself. Guess what the customer said? I don't know how to do it. My buddy said, all right, then how about for $2,500, I'll teach you how to do it. So besides savings the $2,000, besides saving $2K,
You're gonna learn.
You're also going to learn a valuable skill
There you go.
that could benefit you for the rest of the life.
No.
The customer said, okay, sounds good, let's do it. My friend responded by saying this, great. To get started, you're going to need some tools. You will need a chop saw, table saw, cordless drill, bit set, router, skill saw, jigsaw, tool belt, hammer, etc. The customer said, I don't have any of those tools.
Well, then go buy them and show
My
up.
homie said this, Keith, I will, for an additional $300, let you borrow my tools and show you how to use them. So you're now at $2,800. The customer is a little tight, said, okay, I'll pay the extra $300 to learn this. The guy, my buddy, goes, all right, the project is going to start on Monday. The customer said, I work Monday through Friday. I'm only available on the weekend. My buddy said, if you want to learn from me, then you will need to work when I work. This project will take 3 days, so you will need to take 3 days off from work. The customer said to my buddy,
That's
that means
gonna
I'm going to have to sacrifice 3 days of pay and use my vacation time.
Yeah.
My friend said, that's true. Remember, when you do a job yourself, you need to account for unproductive factors.
I've heard multiple versions of this over the
Yeah,
years.
the customer said, what do you mean by that? My buddy said, doing a job completely from start to finish includes time spent to plan the project, pick up materials, travel time, gas, setup time, cleanup time, waste disposal, amongst others. That's all in addition to the project itself. And speaking of materials, that's when we start on Monday, so I need you to arrive at the lumber yard at 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, by the way, and prepay for everything.
Yeah,
Because you don't have an account.
exactly.
So now you've
Prepay
got-
for everything.
You got to prepay for everything. For an account, go out, pick it up, and oh, by the way, you're short a 2x4, and you've got to stop what you're doing and run all the way out there and go ahead and get it because the 2x4 that you picked up was too warped, couldn't use it, whatever. But you can relate that story to this website
To anything.
that you built for us,
Yeah.
right? Right? Oh, well, I think I can do this myself. Well, yeah, I don't think so. There's a reason why professionals do what they do. It's the reason why, let's bring it back to what real estate, right? What we do to help people go into, yes, people can buy and sell homes on their own, but what they're paying for is our expertise, right? Our ability to navigate through the minefields of buying and selling right now. And I'm really seeing this. I've been talking about this for a couple of weeks, and I just don't know exactly. I can't put my finger on it why, but our tempo is picking up. And I think a lot of it is,
You're established.
well,
You're experienced.
well, it could be, but I think a lot of it is okay. Maybe this thing I'm holding in my hand, this iPhone I'm holding in my hand, really can't do all the things that I was told it could do, right? And I really need to know how to navigate this. I was on the phone with Greg Slater when we sold one of our, we got one more remaining affordable housing unit over at Spring Hill Village that Stanley Martin Homes is helping us with, and the land trust and all this stuff. And we were on the phone with 2 attorneys, a loan officer, helping them navigate how we can structure this to get this to the closing. This unit we just put under contract on it. And here we are, 2 real estate guys, trying to teach 2 lawyers how to do this and educate a loan officer through the process. We're doing this because it's our volunteer time and all that stuff, but that's what you pay for. That's the service that we bring to the table.
Let's welcome Crozet to the program. We'll welcome friends in Arlington, who I see on the heat map right now. I see some people here in Richmond. Questions, comments, put them in the feed. Still, folks are not believing us
Well,
that the margin is 3 to 7%.
Somebody Google it? Well, look, if God bless them if they can do more than that, but that's historically the average.
How about this question? This is an interesting one from Steven. How does the margin for a custom home builder compare to the margin of someone who's doing development and custom home building?
Yeah, so I only can speak from my personal experience. My margin on the development side of the house.
Mike Algieri says you're doing a great job.
Oh, hey, Mike. I saw Mike the other day. His office and our office is in the same place. I didn't know that. Hey, Mike, how's it going, man? A little bit of a baseball rock star, too.
Oh my God, his kids are baseball rock stars.
Yeah, family is unbelievable too. Look, so I only can speak from my personal experience, right? The percentage of net I would make on the development was always considerably higher than the build side. So what we did, because I hired a really good lawyer, in 1987 a really good CPA, and I said, this is what I want to do. and they set everything up. So the development company would develop, and it would sell the lot to the building company, then the building company would build. So, and then the building company would sell the house and lot package out. That's generally how that process works on that end, at least for us it did. But yeah, the profit on that was huge. But I also lost $17 million
How about this question?
because the risk is unbelievably high.
Christoph, what would you have done differently then, Keith?
Back in the day, nothing really. None of that was my fault. None of that was. It is what it was. It is what it was. You know, well, I would not have done anything different, really. I think in the minutia of it. I tell you what. We started off opening my heart in the beginning of it. I'll continue to open my heart to that. The only mistake I made, because this was a 2-year snowball, right? It started in 2008, ended in 2010. And I would not wish anybody, my worst enemy, not that I have any, but I wouldn't wish this on anybody to go through that. It was brutal. I mean, people were showing up with warrants and debts to my kids at school. It was absolutely brutal for 2 years to go ahead and do that. The fact that my wife hung around with me is just off the charts. Thankful every minute of the day.
Love you, Yona.
But I thought I could fix it.
How so?
I just thought I could do it. I thought I could fix it, right? In the beginning of it, I can fix this. The second thing was I listened to the banks, which I should not have done, right? And it was, well, you keep on paying your $86,000 every 2 weeks. Keep on paying your $86,000 every 2 weeks. We'll get this right. Well, once you ran out of cash, they said, nah, we're done. So, but I thought I could fix it. And the counsel that I give to people that are in a similar situation is, you can't fix this. You can't fix it. So let's go hire the experts to go ahead and help you kind of get to it. But I really thought that I could fix it. And who am I to fix what happened?
I mean, you solve problems. I mean, it's one of your skills.
We're problem solvers.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's some problems
Sure.
you can't solve that you have to. No, I honestly believe.
But to your credit, your track record of fixing things was fantastic. And one of the things that makes us successful as entrepreneurs is the confidence we have in ourselves.
I do, and the people around us.
Yeah.
And
So I mean, I would have gone down the same road.
I know that, but the question is what I've done different.
In hindsight, you're
In
saying,
hindsight, in
I understand.
2022, what is it? 2020 hindsight is 2020 vision.
Yeah.
Right. I would have pulled certain triggers in the very beginning, very quickly, but I actually thought I could fix it, and I believed people. That was the second problem. I believed the banks. Probably shouldn't have done that.
And what were they? What line were they peddling?
Well, they were peddling. We're gonna work together. We're gonna get through this together. We're gonna get this together. Okay, no problem.
And they had no interest in doing that.
Once the cash was gone, once literally many millions of dollars of cash was gone, then it was like, yeah, we're done. So, but anyway, you learn and live, and you move on. I'll never make that mistake again, and you move on. But that's what I would have. That's what I would have done. Well, my phone is blowing up.
Dude, you should see the feed. The feed's blowing up right now. One of the things that you got to love and respect about Keith is the vulnerability he shows on this show all the time. And it's one of the aspects you'll get if you work with Yes Realty Partners and the Smiths.
It's called honesty.
Yeah. You get folks that have been through the ringer, trials and tribulations, and folks that have the benefit of experience.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Where you're at the mid part of your life. I'm really on the downhill side of it. If I'm lucky, I got another 20 years before, God forbid, something happens.
Well, how old's Pop?
83.
So you got more than 20 years.
Yeah, but Pop's not working, right? I'm over the hump, right?
Okay.
And that becomes a reality. That really sinks in when you got a sick somewhere, and it just sinks in on it. So
How so? A lot less risk taken?
Oh God.
No risk taken whatsoever?
No. To be honest.
You take any risk anymore?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
I'm on a bike.
Well, besides bicycle riding on Route 53,
Sure I do.
which is the definition of risky. I'm
Sure.
sure you've heard that from Yona.
Huh?
Bicycle riding on Route 53.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Is there a shoulder on Route 53?
Yeah, so those Mets are great, man.
Okay.
Right, Mike? Mets are doing great,
Okay.
man. I think they're in first place, if I'm not mistaken. And did you turn the AC down?
It's on 69.
Okay. So that's a
Judah's wearing a sweater.
yeah, that's
No, I'm
a
not.
Well, you have an undershirt on your long sleeve shirt.
yeah, that's a Mel Brooks skit. Anyway, but the what was I? You lost me. You got me off track here. Oh, yeah. So it takes me so much longer to make a decision than I ever. You know that. You experienced that with me, right? 20 years ago, it's like fractions of a second. At 20 years later, it takes. It took the bike I bought. Took me 6 months to decide which bike to buy.
Did you try other bikes?
It was insane. It was stupid.
Are you able to test drive bikes?
Yeah, sure.
You are?
Yeah, sure.
Like the new ones, or they have a testing model?
No. The one you're actually going to buy.
Wow.
Yeah. You go ahead. You bring your sexy bike shorts, right, and your shoes if you got clip-ons, and they put on the pedals on there for you. And you
Is it
take
try it
home.
out in the parking lot, or is it take it home and enjoy it for a weekend?
Oh no. It's. I would take it out on like a 4 or 5 mile ride and see how it felt.
And then come back.
Then bring it back. Yeah.
Gotcha. I didn't know that's how it worked.
Well, it does a blue wheel anyway, so that's how that works.
So decision making is a little more cautious.
Yeah, it's not, but it's not a fear, right? So fear, it's amazing how fear will kind of stymie folks and stuff like that. But no, it just takes a little bit longer to make a decision. Also, it takes me longer to get out of bed in the morning too. So there's all that.
You're doing just fine, my friend.
Oh no, I got to tell you, it's like I look over at Yona and I go, oh man, I got to put my feet on the ground. She goes, yeah, me too.
Lauren says, I love the rotisserie chicken at Costco.
There you go, Lauren. It's a loss leader, right?
I Googled it. It is a loss leader.
Yeah.
You're right. For
So
example,
did anybody Google the 3 to 6, the net profit? I'm just curious.
I mean, I know you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I know for certain. You're right. I was not sure about the Costco rotisserie chicken loss leader, but you're right.
But I believe the hot dog is also at $1.50.
The $4.99 price tag. This is an article from
Yeah, you
couple
can't
years
even
ago.
buy a freaking chicken for $4.99.
And the article says the $4.99 price
Uncooked.
tag is held firm for one of the company's most popular items. And this article says Costco loses an estimated 30 to 40 million a year by keeping rotisserie chickens at $4.99. But the company would rather keep members happy and foot traffic high. That is the definition of a loss leader.
Yeah, but the membership is a huge part of their revenue stream, right? If not, right? Isn't the membership fee?
The membership is how they make their money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much do you get, like a check back once a year from them?
From Costco?
Yeah.
A check?
Yeah.
For what?
What program don't you? I get money. Like if you spend so much money, you get.
That's
like
a question. Mrs. Miller, are we getting money back from Costco? Because I'm not seeing that.
Yeah.
You spent a lot of money over there, sweetheart.
Yeah, so
are we
we-
getting a check from Costco? I'd love to know that answer, Mrs. Miller.
Yeah, we get a check once a year back up from it, and I send it to the kids.
Mrs. Miller, are we getting a check back from Costco, Mrs. Miller? I don't know about that. I haven't seen any checks from Costco. We spend a lot of money over there.
Maybe Mrs. Miller is saying.
Mrs. Miller, do we get a check from Costco? I'm going to be making a phone call here.
We get a check back once a year. If you spend, but you have to have. I'm assuming you've got the business
Oh yeah,
card. Yeah,
yeah, membership. Yeah.
So yeah, I get so
maybe
much.
Maybe we're not. Is it because you're spending so much money there? But it's just you and Yona.
Yeah, but
So
we
you're not
spend we spend enough money. We get it. We used to when the kids were around.
Yeah, that's different.
We used to make enough money.
So you're probably to justify it.
No, to pay the membership. It would just kind of be a wash on that end of it. But yeah, they're not huge. It's like $50, $100, something like that. But we send it off to the kids, and the kids over in Seattle go to Costco and buy whatever they're buying with it. That's what we do.
The Seattle daughter has got a baby on the way.
Yeah, she's flying in actually for
Do-
this visit.
Due early next year,
January. It's just they upped it. It's January 4th now.
January 4th. So New Year's Eve in Seattle for the Smiths.
We are going to be in Seattle.
On New Year's Eve, right?
I think the game plan is Mrs. Smith is going a week before.
Oh, okay.
We haven't quite negotiated.
Well, you got time.
Well, again, back to this.
I don't think you're going to be bringing the bike to Seattle.
Oh, really?
Oh,
I may or may not have bought a case for it. Mrs. Smith does not know that yet, by the way.
they have cases for bikes.
Yeah, sure.
Is it to get them on the airplane?
Sure.
Really?
Yeah.
Does the case have wheels?
Yeah.
Oh, it does?
It's a hard case.
So you just push it through the airport?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, that makes sense.
People that do this get a little fanatical.
The case for the bike has got to be pretty expensive, right?
A little bit.
Was it like $500?
A little bit.
Yeah.
You get
And
into
it literally
trouble.
is like a
If
suitcase.
Yona watching, because I'm going to get into trouble.
I don't know if she's watching.
Yeah.
I have not. Yona, are you watching? I have
Yeah.
not seen her interact with the feed yet. So it's a suitcase for a bicycle?
Yeah, just Google it. What you do is you take off the front wheel and both wheels, and the wheels mount on it. It folds up.
just
it's
learned
like
something.
like a big old suitcase, and you.
Oh
pull it.
yeah, dude. I have.
Yeah.
Good Lord, these are expensive.
Yeah, thanks, pal.
Good Lord, you have this?
I may or may not have that.
Oh my goodness! But that looks very.
So is Mike still on? Because I want to talk about the Mets, because I'm getting into trouble here.
It looks very manageable though to carry it. It really breaks
Yeah.
it down.
Mhm, yeah, and depending on which airline, like Delta doesn't charge extra for it.
It's not a carry-on.
No. Did I say carry
Oh,
on?
it's just like a suitcase.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Understood,
They don't-
understood.
I apologize, not carry on. They don't charge extra to check it in.
So it sounds like the bicycle is going to Seattle.
Or I may not have rented bikes in San Diego and Seattle when we're out there in August.
Oh, that sounds fun.
That's what I did.
That sounds like a good idea. What's your advice to everybody watching the program right now?
About
Anything in life.
when on Twitter, think before you post.
No big deal. No big deal.
That's your, engage brain before you engage your thumbs.
All good.
Yeah.
How about we're going to see you next week, Monday? Or Wednesday? Next week, Wednesday.
Wednesday.
That's a bummer.
So Wednesday is Scott.
And Scott just texted us. He's got Taylor Averett on the show.
Good, exciting. Great to hear. So he's going to sit in the seat. Greg's on Friday in the seat with a couple of folks talking new construction. Nikki Chambliss is sitting in my seat on Monday because we're driving back.
This Monday, Nikki.
Yeah, this coming Monday, a week from today. And we'll be driving back Monday, and I'll be back at it the following Wednesday in that end of it.
I love it. I love it.
Working on some good round tables. I love our little Batman and Robins, but we're bringing in some more round tables for kind of fill out the summer on that stuff. So I'm excited about it.
I love it. I love it. The show was dynamite today.
Yeah. I love. What did I have? 3 pieces of paper?
And it's 11:33.
Oh, look at that. Yeah. So I had 3 pieces of paper, and I think we talked about it for about a minute or two, and then we did it. But it was important for me to start off the show the way I did, so thank you.
Thank you. Folks, this is one of the best shows in the country, and it's called Real Talk with Keith Smith. The show is archived on a website called realtalkwithkeithsmith.com, realtalkwithkeithsmith.com. Check out the website. All our shows archived on realtalkwithkeithsmith.com. Truly a fantastic program. Scott Morris, Taylor Averett on Wednesday, Greg Slater Friday, Nikki Chambliss Monday. I Love Seville shows later today in approximately 57 minutes, where we're going to have a good time as well. Bravo, amigo.
Yes, back at you, brother. Couldn't do it without you. And as you said in the beginning of it, I'm much better at the second seat than the first seat.
You're A plus
on the second
from
seat.
shooting the hip and bringing the perspective you have.
Yeah,
And just being you.
Yeah, but I've only done it twice. I can't tell you. It is so hard to sit in that seat over there. It is really hard, particularly for a guy that has ADD. So that's really hard for me to focus on it. Which, by the way, I have not formally said thank you to Judah.
3-shot.
Because Judah, when was I on the? It was a week ago, right?
Yeah.
It was a week ago. He was kind enough to read the feed because I couldn't do it.
Oh, very nice, Judah.
He was kind enough.
I like that. Smart man.
He was. I'm a real good delegator, and I said, please.
Who'd you do it with? Did you do it with Quentin?
No. God, I can't remember. Oh no, it was Scott. It was Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday was
It
Scott.
wasn't Monday. It was Wednesday.
Yeah.
Right, and it was Scott. It was Scott and I, and I had Judah read a few questions out for us because I sure as heck couldn't follow it.
Well, I thought it was a great show. Judah, you were always on point. Mr. Consistency is Judah Wickower. Keith Smith is the distinguished gentleman. The show is archived on Real Talk with Keith Smith. My name is
Lord,
Jerry
my
Miller,
phone's blowing up today.
and it's presented by Keller Williams Alliance and Yes Realty Partners. It's a real estate market that is one you need a trusted advisor.
Absolutely. So So look at this awesome website, pull down the partners thing. Please support all the partners that are on there. Without them, we wouldn't be having these conversations 3 times a week for 341.
42 now. Oh,
Well,
no, this is 341.
Today's 341.
Got it.
Well, now
think it's 340.
Well, it's 341 today.
Yeah, Wednesday's 342.
342.
That's a lot of shows.
That's insane.
Think about that.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I can't wait till 500. 500 is a serious milestone.
Yeah, I have to map it out. I don't know when that actually is. Should look at a calendar and figure out when.
What are we about? We're call it 150 away. So
Yeah, so it's-
3 per week.
Times 4.
Yeah, there you go.
I can't do that math
how
in
you
my
do
head. But I don't think it's this year. I think it's next year.
Yeah, it'll be next year.
Next year. But we should do a special show for that.
Oh, absolutely. Without spandex.
Maybe down in the Caribbean.
No.
We'll do it down. Mrs. Miller will love that. We'll do it down in the Caribbean.
Oh, God.
We'll do a live shot down there. What do you think, Judah? You in on that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Judah.
And then, you can travel with dogs now, so we'll bring Miss Liza down. And
There you go.
she'll have a lot of fun. Thank you for everything.
Oh,
guys.
absolutely. Today's show was
Thank you,
dynamite.
thank you.
I Love Seville show, guys, in 54 minutes. Keith Smith, Jerry Miller, Judah Wickower, thank you for joining us. We'll see you shortly. Take care, everyone. Well done. It was dynamite.
It was fun. I had fun.
It was dynamite.
That's exactly how I wanted to end the last